Alumite is made out of 5 aluminum, 2 iron, and 2 obsidian. I don't know how much alumite that gives us, but we're going to need to make this pink stuff in order to make a pickaxe to go into the nether and mine cobalt and ardite, because cobalt and ardite is so tough that you can't even mine it with diamond. You need at least alumite to mine it. So we've got some obsidian in here, got some iron blocks right here that I can melt back down if necessary, and we've got plenty of aluminum back in the smeltery. Oh whoa, the items on my table look really terrible with the fast graphics turned on. I'm sorry about that. York, Gary, Tim, turn your eyes, avert your gaze from the glitchy bugness. No, they're just skulls. They're just inanimate skulls. Oh, the humanity. Vigil's watching me over the text messages. Ugh, I'm awake. Okay, so we are going to create our first metal tool using the casting basin. And this, or the casting table that is, this is really what the mod is all about, is creating tools using these casts and customizing them. I haven't even shown you how to customize a tool yet, but once we make this alumite pick, we will get into that sort of thing. So, what do we need? We need a pick head and a tool binding and a tool rod. How did I know that? Well, if we go over to the tool station right here, we can see what we would need to assemble it, and these things fit in there just perfectly, so we need to make stuff here. Now, different materials have different qualities, and those qualities are described in these books. There are 3 books the mod adds. First is Materials and You, which, if your config files are set up properly, you will start out with. There's another one called Materials and You, this one, which you can craft from that, and there's Mighty Smelting and Diary of a Tinker. We don't need to go into the diary, you can read that on your own if you install the mod. But how you make these books is, let's see, if you don't have the default, like, spawn in have the book setting in your config file, you can just make them out of a blank pattern and paper. The materials book just shows you how to build all the wooden stuff. This one and the Mighty Smelting one are the useful ones because this tells you what all the tools do, all their different special abilities and materials. It tells you the qualities of all the different materials that you can use to make stuff and whether or not it requires a full smeltery to actually cast them out. And it tells you what all the different upgrades are that you can give to the tools on this tool station. That is very, very useful. So, we are going to make an alumite pickaxe. Going to need some aluminum, extra aluminum. Do we have any aluminum in here? I don't think we do, so we're going to, remembering that this doubles, put in 12 of it. We are also going to need to put in, let's see, it's 5 aluminum, that's going to make 24, 26, 28, 30. It's going to make 30 aluminum ingots in here, which will translate to 6 alumite recipes. 6 alumite recipes requires a dozen iron, so we're going to put back in this much iron. That'll melt back down on a 1-per-1 basis. And we also need how much obsidian for this again? What was it? Same as the iron, so that would make, we need a dozen obsidian. We have that. Okay, so you see we've got our molten aluminum here, iron, aluminum, brass. Oh, we already had 5 iron. Maybe I could take these out. We'll end up with just 2 remaining iron, which we can pour out on this casting table. You know, all these molten metals in here are starting to look fairly delicious. It's like a ice cream sundae or something. Delicious. Was there someone in my smeltery just now? I heard footsteps. These cats, the thing is, I learned in early Minecraft that if there are footsteps behind you but no mob sounds, it means that a creeper is about to kill you. because creepers don't make walking around noises. They don't talk. But then these cats showed up, these ocelots, and all of a sudden there are things walking around, making footsteps, but not making mob noises. So I think, oh my gosh, a creeper. We got aluminum. Okay, hopefully that'll make alumite. Alright, we've got 18 ingots worth. This only costs 1 ingot to make a pickaxe head. That costs a half, that costs a half. We aren't going to make the tool binding and tool rod out of the alumite though, so technically we're only going to use 1 of our 18. So that's at the bottom, correct. Alright, we have our pickaxe cast. We pour this hot pink stuff in there. Bam, we've got a hot pink pickaxe head. I'm just going to throw that into here already, because I can just leave that there. Now we want to make the binding and the handle. And those I think I'm going to make out of steel. Steel sounds good. Now in this mod pack, I can't remember if Tinker's Construct gives you a recipe for steel, so let me check real quick. We have so many varieties of steel. This is made out of the steel dust, which I can use. Or there's this steel, which doesn't have a recipe, and this steel, which doesn't have a recipe. I could use, later on I'm going to use Railcraft to make tons of steel. But for now, we can make the slightly more expensive and much, much faster basic component steel. So let's just surround some iron with this. If you don't have another mod that gives you a steel recipe, I think Tinker's Construct will give you a simple steel recipe that you can use. You'll need to look that up somewhere else. Okay, technically 1 steel is enough for what we need right now. So let's just run over and put this steel into the smeltery. I could technically give it like a paper binding, and that wouldn't particularly affect the durability, but it would give it an extra modifier slot later. Different materials, as you can check in this big book, have different special qualities and stuff like that, and you can spend a long time reading through materials in you, but I am not really going to bother with any of that. The main point is that we have an alumite pickaxe that can mine cobalt and ardite. Okay, we've got a tiny bit of molten steel. We'll send that to the bottom by left-clicking it. 1 little ingot of molten steel. So we'll use that to make both our binding and our handle. That'll make a very tough, durable tool. Here we go. Fairly quick. And then we can put all these together in the tool forge, make the tool, and upgrade it as well. We still got our alumite tool head there. We can assemble this. And you can see it will look different and have different qualities on it depending on what materials you use. You can make really custom, cool tools. Now, what do I want to name this hot pink pickaxe? I will name it the Manly Man's Pickaxe. There we go. We've got our Manly Man's Pickaxe. It has reinforced 2. That means that it essentially kind of has unbreaking 2. And now we can modify it. We're going to put redstone on this to make it faster. Now you can see a block of redstone counts for 9 here. We can also add in the powder to up it to an even 10. We're just going to put 1 level on here. We don't want to waste all of our materials. You can see this is using up a modifier slot. So now we have 50 out of 50 redstone. And that is unlocked to the next level. If we wanted to put it up to 100 redstone on there, we could. That would use up an extra modifier slot. So we don't want that. It just has level 1 haste. That's going to make it dig faster. And now we can go into the nether and mine ourselves some awesome cobalt and ardite. Let's just make sure we're prepared before we go. Okay, we won't need that training katana. We've got our breaker's bow, which is what I renamed the Hawkeye to. Because let's be honest, I like me some Bastion. I might make a kale hammer later on. I've learnt my lesson. I am bringing my flint and steel into the nether with me. And on that note, I think we can just head into the portal, although it is nighttime. I don't want a creeper to blow up my portal. Let's sprint up here. Paving stones of travel. Hello, zombie. Goodbye. Zaza! Whew, the frame lag made that a little bit more difficult than I had imagined it would be. Okay. Into the nether we go. Here we are again. I spent a lot of time mining quartz. You'll see why later. But currently we are looking for blue and yellow ores. Those are the only two ores that... Can you please stop interrupting me? I am trying to give a tutorial on this. There we go. Whew. Anyway, Tinker's Construct adds 2 new ores into the game. Cobalt and Ardite. That is into the nether. 2 new nether ores. And we are going to find them and mine them with our manly man's pick. Even with haste 1, it takes a little while to mine the stuff. So the yellow stuff is Ardite, and over here the blue stuff is Cobalt. Now these are 2 of the 3 best materials in the game for making tools. Cobalt has the special ability of really fast mining speed, so technically Cobalt is the fastest pickaxe material that there is, although it is not the most durable. And Ardite has a weird special ability where as you continue wearing down the tool, it will mine faster and faster, but will deal less and less damage. That's the Stonebound ability. So Ardite is generally not my choice for tool making. Cobalt, however, is pretty great for hammers and picks and things. It's generally fairly rare, but it spawns commonly enough that you can just sort of wander around on the surface and slowly pick up little bits of it at a time. I think Cobalt is slightly more common than the Ardite. Luckily I can teleport, so I can just jump down here. Please! You are so intrusive. Can I hit you with your own fireball at any point in time? Screw you and your fireballs. I don't need it. There we go. Thank you, Breaker's Bow. You are my friend. Get some nether quartz while I'm here. Do I see any more? Oh, I see a nether fortress over there. That's a good find. I'm going to need to find a lot more of those if I want to farm more wither skeletons. I'm going to use Tinker's Construct to build a sword that is capable of farming tons of wither skeletons very efficiently, using beheading mechanics and stuff like that. It's going to be fairly awesome, but we'll get to that in a bit. Because first, what we're going to use all these cool tools for is taking out that dungeon that I found over near the Aura Node Totem, where I got the Ordo aspect from. We're going to make some awesome weapons and go in there and find out what it has in store for us. And hopefully get some cool loot. Maybe even find emeralds, because I have found 0 emeralds thus far. Cobalt and Ardite, where are you? I wanna melt you down into a metallic stew. Sorry, that sounded kinda dumb, but it rhymed, and that's all I really care about. Ooh, I should have brought my buckets to fill them up here. Refuel the smeltery. Hindsight is 2018. It's 4 years in the future. Hindsight is ahead of the times. I'm sure a time traveler would be able to follow my train of thought here. No, you don't. Here's one more piece. I think we'll call it there. We have, how much is it? Let's check our inventory. 8 Ardite, 9 Cobalt. That's a pretty good haul. Ooh, 2 Cobalt in a row. Score. We'll bring that back. So, once we get back home, we are going to turn some of this Ardite and some of this Cobalt into an alloy called Manulin. It is the most powerful ore in the game for making weaponry, and we're going to use it to forge a sword. These things are pretty slow moving, but the Breaker's Bow is pretty great at dealing with them. Oh, did you just spawn? Really? Alright, no destroying my portal, please. We've been through this before. Thank you. Let me just pick up these gas tiers and then we can go home. I'm getting tired of the nether and all of its shenanigans. Although I've got quite a fair amount of ghast tears from all this. So, potions of regen, here we come. Whoa! Right off the bat. Zombie went through the portal. I'll guess I'll need to deal with him next time I go into the Nether. And baby pig zombie, you came out of the portal. Okay, let me just take care of all these jokers out here who are surviving in the rain. And you two... Okay, so, Manyullin. It is debatably the most powerful ore in the game. It has the highest durability, does the most damage, slightly slower than cobalt, but we aren't using it to make a mining tool, we're using it to make a sword. So we're going to put, let's see, going to put 2 cobalt in here and 2 ardite in there. That's how much you need to make, I think, just 1 Manyullin. So we're actually going to put more. There we go. We're going to use it to create the sharpest sword that we possibly can. In preparation for that, I'm going to start turning all this nether quartz into blocks. Nether quartz is what you use in Tinker's Construct to make sharper weaponry. It gives it the sharpness buff, and I think we have enough here to max out this sword that we are about to create. It's going to be an instrument of awesomeness. Okay, we're starting to make molten Manyullin. We have 4 ingots of it. And wait for it. Okay, 8 molten Manyullin. We're going to make a long sword with that, which means we need... Oh yeah, wait, put it in the hungry chest. We need a sword blade, just a basic sword blade. What do I want to make the hilt out of? Curiouser and curiouser. A tool rod cast, obviously. Manyullin is also the best for tool rod casts. And honestly, I might as well make the guard out of Manyullin as well. I could make it out of paper for an extra upgrade slot, but again, I kind of don't like the idea of a paper handguard. Seems kind of odd. Let's check in materials and you to see what kind of other materials we could make the guard out of. Not obsidian, not alamite, that's pink. I'm not a fan of pink. Had enough of that in the aether. Okay, I could make it out of ardite, but that would just give stone bound. Maybe I could make it out of cobalt to give a level of reinforced. I think that would be good. So we'll plonk 1 more cobalt into here. In the meantime, let us cast the tool rod for the handle. It's going to be a Manyullin handle. Here we go. Whew. The Manyullin handle of our sword. Plunk that in there. Next up, the blade. Whew. This makes it feel a lot more epic to make tools, casting each part individually. It's pretty nice. Put that in there, it keeps defaulting back. And do I have a little bit of cobalt in here? Almost. This takes a really long time to melt, so we'll let it do its thing. And in the meantime, you know what? I'm just going to make another Manyullin tool rod. Why not? Okay, we've got a little bit of cobalt. Send that to the bottom. And we are going to make ourselves... This will only take half a thing of cobalt. So we'll make a handguard. Plus that'll just make it look a little bit cooler. So, cobalt handguard. You can see we don't even need to click the recipe over here to assemble it, but I'm going to anyways. This sword is going to have a default attack of 4 hearts, 3,000 durability. That is a lot of durability, but what do we want to call our sword? I am going to name it, because it's going to be covered in quartz, I will name it the Quartz Tiger. Tiger because it pounces at the enemy. There we go. Quartz Tiger has reinforced 2 from that head that we gave it. Now it's time to sharpen it. This might be very, very annoying to listen to. So you see it takes 72 quartz just to reach the final level. You see that modifies the look of it, just like the redstone modified that. Different tools will be modified in different ways by these things. You can see I could even put quartz on here and give the pickaxe sharpness if I wanted to use it for combat, but I don't. I want to make the Quartz Tiger awesome, so prepare your ears for the hammer time! You know, it's kind of musical if you think about it. I'm just gonna sort of blend it into my brain and make music. Okay, We've got one level of that. We're actually going to do another little improvement on the sword. We want more modifier slots. So we'll add something on there to get additional modifiers to make it as sharp as possible. This is expensive, takes a block of gold and a diamond. We need more diamonds. I really need to start mining again. This will give an additional modifier slot so that we can have an additional level of sharpness on our blade. We could also use a nether star to upgrade it with an additional slot. This is a one-time upgrade. You can only do this one time. You can see this will give us one extra little upgrade thing. Now back to hammering quartz! You can see the damage increasing very, very slowly as we continue sharpening it against quartz crystals. This is going to be one of the sharpest swords in the universe. All the way up to 288 quartz. That is what we are investing into this sword, the Quartz Tiger. Okay, we're done. Attack 8.5 hearts. 288 quartz was sacrificed in sharpening the Quartz Tiger. And this is a long sword, so like with the training katana that I made earlier, it has the long jump charge ability. That means that I could do even more than 8.5 hearts of damage with it if I charged. So, the flowing razor, I enchanted it as much as I could. It is very sharp and very quick. I'm still going to use it in the future, definitely, but for now, I am going to retire it into this chest. Actually, no, the flowing razor deserves better than that. It deserves a proper tool rack. I'll hang up some of my tools for now. The flowing razor, I will come back to you. Oh, the fast graphics are making that hard to look at. Let's see, what else can I hang up? The manly man's pickaxe. Hang that up. Oh good, they actually do map to that better than they did in Hexit anyways. In Hexit it was totally broken. It didn't even look like you were holding your tools at all. But now it does. So we can take our Quartz Tiger. Does it even have upgrade slots left? No. If we ever want to upgrade this more, we'll need a nether star to do that. That is pretty crazy. Throw that at the hungry chest, it'll just eat them up. Excellent. And let's prepare to go on a dungeon delve. Now there's one last thing that I want to do before going off on my dungeon delve. I need to prepare, and also I'm going to give myself some better combat armor and a little bit more health. I feel in the need for a health boost. So, earlier when I was fighting mobs and stuff, where did it go? Let's see. I think I put it up in my research station. Let me just, whoops, overshot. Teleport down here. Here it is. Now earlier when I was fighting zombies, one of them dropped a miniature red heart. And then when I was fighting wither skeletons, one of them dropped a necrotic bone. So I'm going to take these two things, and then I'm going to take my final diamond block, break it down into individual diamonds. Here we go. I'm really going to need to mine for more of those. Also, we'll need an apple, and we'll need a few aluminum ingots, which I don't have. I'll need to go pour some out in the smeltery. While that's melting, I can jewel this apple with 4 entire diamonds. This is a very expensive thing, but this is a thing added by Tinker's Construct. In your inventory, you would probably notice this diamond armor icon up here with an entire extra window of all these artifacts. Now, from what I understand, the mod maker hasn't even added in most of the artifacts that are intended to go into these slots. But he's added 2, the knapsack, which I'm not going to make, and this, the heart canister. It's made with a miniature red heart, which you get from very rarely killing zombies or other mobs, I think. A necrotic bone, which is a rare drop from a wither skeleton, a jeweled apple, which I just crafted, and a canister of aluminum. Send that to the bottom. We're going to need 4 ingots of this. There we go. Put this back into the hungry chest. And now we can make ourselves a canister and fill that with a heart, a jeweled apple, and a necrotic bone, and get a heart canister. So if we put that in our accessory slot, then the first heart on our hotbar should be turning gold at any moment. I don't know. Oh. There we go. Now I should start healing up and generate a golden heart. There we are. Perfect. So now I technically have 11 hearts of health, or 22 points of health, as it were. Molten cobalt, I have a little bit of that. So now what we can do, we have our extra health, we have our amazing Quartz Tiger. We're going to make more tools later on. I want to make a kale hammer, if possible, make a cool axe and stuff like that. Let's try this out. 16 damage per hit. Bam! 20 damage in a single hit. I got an achievement. What was that achievement? It was a Tinker's Construct achievement called Enemy Slayer Slay a Mob. That was it? Really? Dual Convenience. Kill a mob with a frying pan and then cook their meat in it. Man, I'll need to do that. Craft your first tier 2 tool. I don't know what that even means, but we can figure that out later. In the meantime, the Quartz Tiger, I'm actually going to practice with it real quick. Wearing nothing but my mage robes, I'm going to go out into the field. This is how I've been gathering all of my experience for enchanting, as I've just been either mining quartz to sharpen the Quartz Tiger, or I've been fighting mobs out in the field. So let's see, where can I go? Let's make sure my wand is at the ready. Quartz Tiger in action, leaping from treetop to treetop. The longsword is probably just as useful as a navigation tool as it is as a weapon. So that's pretty nice. Of course I can also teleport with near impunity, which is very useful. I don't see any mobs yet, but I'm sure we will find them. Little aura node there. Ah, here we go. Skeletons. Let's take out the armored one and do a charge attack. Ah, dang it. It's not working. But you can see protection 4 is pretty good. And I just jumped right over that thing. Whew. Okay. Sprint attacks also function as critical hits with this thing. As you can see, the Quartz Tiger ain't doing too bad. 20 damage. Now I'm probably doing more than 20 damage, but the most recent version of damage indicators will cap out at the mob's maximum health. So I'm probably doing closer to 30 damage with these big critical hits. There we go. Well, this is quite the tool, and because it has sprint attacks, and because I can one-shot mobs with a simple jump critical hit, it'll still be very useful in close quarters down in the dungeon when we take this to face that crazy mob-filled dungeon. One-hit spiders, pretty nice. That, the breaker's bow, and my lightning wand make me a pretty formidable opponent in combat. I doubt vanilla mobs can stand up to me much anymore. So, that was a quick demo of Tinker's Construct and the tools that it can provide you. I really want to make the hammer. The hammer allows you to mine out like a 3x3 area of stone in one go, so I'm going to make myself an awesome kale hammer and stuff like that. But in the meantime, I think that wraps up this episode. Next time we're going to take on that crazy dungeon over there, see what it has to offer, hopefully get some good treasure like emeralds and stuff. And we're also going to make some more tools. But in the meantime, this has been Ender Academy. Me and Vigil wish you adieu. Hope you had a good winter holiday. And we hope that I will not be sick next time, because this voice, I can't keep this up for that long. Ah, morning. Where is the sunrise? I want to see the sunrise. Hi, Sebenya. I don't know the lyrics. Vigil says goodbye. Except he doesn't, because he's a mute.